This is interview with Felicia Jones. Take one, Mark.
It was a necessity to have a large home because we have a large family. When we went to view the house, it was very beautiful, had a lot of potential for our family, and I was very excited when I seen it. It had 6 bedrooms, and it was perfect.
The house also came with an extra, unexpected feature.
We did not know anything about the previous owners. A neighbor that has lived here for years had asked me if I had ever met Eleanor. She said Eleanor is a lady that lived in this house that was a nanny, and that Eleanor died in the living room at this house. She told me that this house was haunted by her.
Despite the neighbor's story, the house seemed too perfect to turn down.
When we first moved to the house, I felt like I was being watched, and I would get the chills, but then I would think, am I crazy? There's nobody here but me. I would get ready for work, and I would see like white blurs upstairs, and they would be moving. One morning, I watched a white blur go into my son's bedroom. They were like human size, like a cloud. I mean, just like float. My husband thought I was crazy. He thought I was seeing things because the neighbor had put it into my head.
Soon, other strange things started to happen.
I heard people trying to talk over each other, it sounded like. I thought it was the neighbors talking over each other. So I looked out the window because my neighbors go out on their porch to smoke. When I looked out the window, there was nobody there. So I laid down and I went back to bed. A few hours later, I was woken up by the same thing. At first, I thought people were playing tricks on me, but then I come to realize later, there's something going on in this house. I woke my husband, Kevin, up. Like always, he dismissed it. After all that happened, I thought maybe I was going crazy seeing things because of the neighbor again telling me this house was haunted.
But Felisa wasn't imagining things, as her son Rob and her grandson Carson would discover when they stayed over one night.
Come on. Let's go, buddy.
In the middle of the night, we heard a loud crash. and it was my son, Rob, running through the baby gate. Kevin and I jumped up out of the bed, came out.
They're down here.
Rob was frantic. My son was shaking.
What happened?
He said, I was woken up by an old lady. She was in my face. When I woke up and I turned and grabbed Carson, her face just disappeared. Rob knew that it was a ghost. He said, I will never, ever sleep upstairs again. I was scared. And Carson had 103 fever. Only thing I could think of is what the neighbor said about Eleanor. I was told that Eleanor was a nanny. We believe she was waking him up to tell him that Carson was sick.
What is she doing now? This is getting out of hand. I can't believe this.
Believing the spirit of Eleanor to be benign or even friendly, Felisa and her family decided to try to tolerate the entity.
A month after we moved in, the activity in the house started to change. I started to get afraid. Instead of at ease about Eleanor, I started to get scared about other things happening in the house. Caden is my great nephew. I've babysat him from birth till the age of 5. He was a happy, great, fun little boy to be around. But one night, when Caden was about 4, he started to experience things in the house also.
The new activity was darker, malevolent, and dangerous. They started to wonder, maybe Eleanor wasn't so kind-hearted after all.
Caden would wake up screaming in the middle of the night. He said that he saw a monster in his room.
When Felisa Jones and her husband bought a large house in a quiet neighborhood, little did they know that the house had some uninvited guests. A good one and a bad one. And it didn't take long for a monster to make its evil presence known, terrorizing Felisa's 4-year-old great-nephew.
Caden was screaming, the monster scratched my back. And Caden had scratches on his back. It scared the crap out of me when I saw those scratches on Caden's back. I wondered where Eleanor was and why Eleanor wasn't protecting him.
A spirit would have to be very powerful in order to scratch someone, because basically a spirit will need to reach through their level of existence into our level of existence. That takes a lot of strength, a lot of energy, a lot of power.
Caden went from so happy, and then when all that started to happen, he started to look sick and lethargic, and he looked terrible.
Felisa decided to find out exactly who or what was attacking Caden.
We had cameras installed that have motion sensors on them. So when you move in front of them, the cameras turn on and start to film. One night, the camera in my foyer went off, and I went to look, and it looked almost to me like it had a long curled nose, and it looked very skeletal, scary-like, very scary. I thought, what can I do to get this thing out of my house?
Felisa contacted paranormal investigator Rick Cosner and his team for help.
Felicia called me, she told me she was having some problems with her nephew who had been staying with her. Well, anytime a child's involved, I have a concern over that. Felicia did send us some video of her CCTV camera, which was very interesting. It did show that there was an entity or spirit of some sort there.
When Rick saw the image, it was a very demonic spirit, and he said we needed to get it out of there.
Demons are supernatural beings, fallen angels. Demons can be very violent because their ultimate goal is your death.
I wanted that very dark spirit out of my house. I was frightened.
When we went there, we came with my wife and a Catholic priest who performed the cleansing on Felicia's house. When you perform a cleansing, the priest will go to each room and he says prayers. He sprinkles holy water over beds, over pretty much everything. He seals off the mirrors so the spirits can't hide in mirrors. And this is what we use to get rid of negative spirits.
Rick and his team struggled to find evidence of any demonic spirits or how they got there. Rick began to worry that the reason they couldn't find a trace of the demon was because it was hiding from them.
How do you feel?
This meant there was only one way to get rid of it: perform an exorcism of the whole house.
An exorcism had to be performed because cleansings do not work on supernatural beings. Only an exorcism will work.
It is time.
When Rick started to do the exorcism, my house started to smell like sulfur.
The sulfur is a good sign that the demon is located in the house someplace.
In the name of Christ, we demand you to be gone. God demands you to be gone. The saints demand you to be gone.
God demands you to be gone. The saints demand you to be gone. And there's literally a literature of things that you read to call upon all the saints.
In the name of Christ, we demand you to be gone. God demands you to be gone. The saints demand you to be gone.
When they fight the exorcism, things will be thrown, things will be shaken. They will let you know their presence and how angry they are.
The saints demand you to be gone. Get out of my house! Christ, we demand you to be gone. God demands you to be gone. God demands you to be gone. In the name of Christ, we demand you to be gone.
The smell immediately stopped after the exorcism. When the smell dissipates, it's usually a sign that the demon is moving out of the home.
Thank you, Father.
I felt a sense of peace after Rick came in and blessed the house. The house felt at ease. I felt safe again.
I definitely felt a difference in the house once the exorcism was finished. It seemed lighter. The house seemed lighter, the air seemed lighter, there was no more smell.
Although one evil uninvited guest had been thrown out, another positive one still remained: Eleanor, the nanny.
There's still a lot of activity at my house. The stuff in this house has been going on long enough. The fear is gone. I've become used to it. I was raised not to believe in the paranormal, but I definitely do now. Because I have seen paranormal, I've seen the things in my house, I've seen things on camera. It's there, I see it.